Corydoras have laid eggs. If they lay the eggs on the glass, what you want to do is to use your fingers, the tip of your fingers, and very gently you roll the eggs to the side or upwards until it comes off, and then you can grab them, and then you can either put the eggs in a container with water that we're going to set up later so that it doesn't get fungus, or if you have a net breather, that would actually be better. You could have your net breather, you could set it up right here on the corner. You want to make sure it's close to where you have flow of water. It's very important to have flow of water. Well, I am going to demonstrate how you can get the eggs out of the glass. You roll them gently with a lot of patience. They're gonna start coming off. I'm getting this pair of two right here. On my fingers, I'm going to place it inside my container. And the more you can separate the eggs, the better, because some eggs will get fungus if they're not fertilized, and you want to make sure they're not touching the ones that are fertilized, because then they're going to catch on the fungus and they could die. And so go ahead and stop. Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so once you roll them, they're gonna either stick to your fingers, so you just grab them with both fingers, stick them out, separate them a little bit if you can, else it's fine. Make sure you don't damage them, but they're very tough. It's really hard to damage cory eggs unless you use a knife. You want to make sure, if you're gonna use knives, I recommend against using knives. The first time I used knives, I actually murdered a lot of my eggs. So don't use knives if you can help it. Don't use credit cards. You're going to end up killing a lot of your eggs, and you're going to end up spreading fungus as well. Definitely, I found that rolling them with your fingers is by far the best techniques. I have the best success rate with this technique. Basically, you have three options for your eggs. You can put it in a new tank, but most people don't have or cannot afford a new tank for their babies. Option number two is you can just get a jar, and you can use a little bit of methylene blue, and that's going to help with the fungus. If you're going to go with this option, with option number two, there's three options. What you want to do is, right here I have about 3 cups of water. I got the water from the main tank. Make sure the water parameters are as similar as possible to where the eggs were laid. And I'm going to drop, hopefully, 2 drops into 3 cups of water from the main tank. Here we go. It's not coming out. Do I have to shake this? Come on. 1 and 2. Okay, there's our 2 drops. Me tienes que hacer una señal. Now you want to make sure you don't drop any methyl blue into your main tank, because it's going to stain. It is going to permanently stain your silicone, if you have silicone, on your tank edges, and it's going to stay on your plants, your grout. You want to be able to get it off, so you want to leave it in the jar. The way you're going to get rid of it is you're going to be doing daily water changes. Not right now, but when they spawn, you're going to start doing water changes. About 50%, you take out 50%. The way you want to do the water changes, you want to do it very slowly. You just grab a piece of air tubing, you get the water out, and you put water back into it. You do it very gently. Try to make sure the temperature is the same. And another very important thing, crucial, if you want your eggs not to get fungus, definitely the methyl blue is definitely going to help. You also want to make sure you have a lot of aeration. The aeration causes water flow, and the water flow is going to keep the water from getting stagnant. If the water is not stagnant, fungus is not going to get on your eggs. Also, some eggs may not be fertilized with the days. You have to check, you have to do daily checks. The very white eggs you separate. You take them out somehow, you grab them with a syringe, with a dropper, you take them out, because they will get fungus and they're gonna infect your other eggs. Now, to get the air flow into your tank, you wanna get an air stone. You wanna connect it to your air tubing. Now, if you're like me and you already have all your exits of your air already taken by tanks and you need to get an extra one, don't worry. All you have to do is make sure you have a powerful enough air pump. In my case, I am not, but I'm gonna get a better air pump that's able to support several tanks. What you wanna do is you wanna get a T, and this is gonna split your air tubing. So I'm gonna cut here, I'm gonna put the T, I'm gonna make it so that it continues giving air to the original filter, and on the other end I'm going to connect my air stone, which I'm going to use for my setup. I'm gonna cut right here. I'll take my T, one side in there. Then the air was coming through here, so it's going to be at the bottom now. And we have effectively created another exit of air. Now I'm going to put my air stone on this end. And then if you need to get if you need to get a better air pump to support all of the different tanks, they're not that expensive. You can buy it for like $17 in Amazon. You can get a really good one. Right, so I went ahead and finished setting it up. I'm going to mention that I'm also using a regulator to, with this I can make more or less air come out of the end of the tube. And this is it for option number 2. Then I'm going to talk about option number 3, which is probably the best option, and that's using a breeder box or a breeder net. Now, I got this breeder box from Petco, and I don't recommend using the breeder box at all for Corydoras, because Corydora fry are so small, they're gonna come right out of the side slits. They are very, very thin slits, but your Corydora, when they hatch, and this happened to 2 of my Corydoras, they were able to survive, but I was very lucky. But they will come out and your parents are gonna eat them, so you don't want to use this one. Don't use this one. If you get a mesh, a net breeder, if you get a mesh breeder net, you want to make sure the holes are not too big. You want to get a fine mesh. Fine mesh is good, else your Corydora are going to get stuck, or else are going to come out, and that's not what you want. Again, if you get the breeder net, which is one of the best options, you want to make sure that you put it in a part of area of your aquarium where there is a lot of water flow, and you also want to make sure you take one of these and you put it inside the net, so that you ensure there is enough water flow. Again, water flow is crucial. Make sure your eggs don't get fungus. If you see fungus with daily checks, use a dropper, use something, get the eggs with fungus out, and you will be successful at hatching your Corydoras. Now, if you do go for option number 2 and you use a jar just like the one right here to put your eggs in, once your eggs hatch, you want to make sure that you are doing daily water changes from the main tank. You want to make sure that you are changing the water of your main tank so that the water that you then put into your jar is as close as possible to the original water parameters. And so yeah, you want to make sure you do that. Now, let's move on to the topic of food. What are you going to feed your Corydora eggs when they hatch? This is what I used to great success. This is my second batch of Corydora eggs. On my first batch of Corydora hatching eggs, I used first bites, and even from the moment they were very little, they are still able to eat this food, no problem. It is fine. It is grinded well enough so that you can use this, no problem. You want to make sure you only use a very tiny pinch. You want to feed them 2 times a day, but don't start feeding them until about 2 to 3 days after they hatch, because they will feed off of their own eggs. So wait 2 to 3 days, then you can buy this at any Petco. You can buy it online for about $3. It's really not that expensive, and it has all the nutrition they need. It has vegetable plus protein nutrition, because Corydoras are omnivores. They need a balanced diet. So this is really good. If you don't have this and you have a Walmart close to you, another option for food, you can actually buy dry, hard-boiled, dusted eggs. It kind of looks like dust, and it's made out of eggs, and it is fine enough so that you can use it with your Corydoras as well. Those are some easy to get options that are going to ensure that you can feed your Corydoras until they grow older. Once they're about 3 weeks old, you can start feeding them some grinded pellets. In the meantime, this is the best option in my opinion. It worked for me. I really want to emphasize about the not overfeeding them. And also I want to emphasize about the daily water changes. If you miss a water change, I would say to be on the safe side, you could even do 2 water changes. The water parameters, if you keep them in a jar for a week or 2, the water parameters is going to get bad really fast. It is crucial if you want to make sure they stay alive. You're gonna have to do some daily work, daily water changes. Feed very little, just a tiny pinch. Make sure you get your water from the main tank, and do water changes on the main tank every now and then as well. Very important. Now, can you get close? I want to show you my first batch of Corydoras, how well they're doing. I have them on this tank now. I transferred them here about a week and 3 days after they hatched in the jar. Now for this second batch, I'm actually going to put them in the net because I want to make sure I don't lose any of them. And you can see how pretty they are. They're about a little over 2 weeks old, about 3 weeks actually. And there you have it, folks. That's how you can make sure that you take proper care of your baby Corydora fry. They are amazing fish to own. Highly recommend them. It's an amazing experience. Getting them to breed, taking care of fry, it's very rewarding. Thanks for watching my tutorial. If you liked it, make sure you give me a like, and so that I can do more tutorials like this. And that's it. Have a good day.